Today, Malcolm's TV dad, Bill Cosby, crushed by the news of his on-screen son's passing.
Bill, why is your shirt wide open?
That's what we heard.
Pamela Warner's world fell apart and would never fully come back together after she got the phone call that no mother should ever receive. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the boy she had brought up with love and perseverance and whom the world had grown to respect, was no longer with her. On July 20th, while on vacation in Costa Rica, he drowned while swimming at the beach with his family. Those who were with him said that he had only been laughing moments earlier. Then he was pulled under by a sudden current. He was not resuscitated. He was gone in an instant. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was a well-known actor who gained international recognition for his portrayal of Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. He also worked as a poet, musician, and a calm, considerate voice in the tumultuous entertainment business. But he was just Pamela Warner's son, her life's rhythm, her greatest accomplishment, and her greatest joy. Pamela was struck by the tidal wave of grief over Malcolm's passing. In a cruel turn of events, she had turned down his invitation to go on the family vacation in favor of staying home and resting. Never in her wildest dreams did she think she would hear his voice say, "I love you, Mom." Just the night before the accident, he had called her from Costa Rica, his voice full of excitement as he spoke about how serene everything felt, how lovely the ocean looked, and how thankful he was to have made time for his loved ones. Generations of fans were shocked when the news of his drowning made headlines, but Pamela was dealing with an unnamed grief while the rest of the world lamented the passing of a cultural icon. She lost her baby, the young boy she had cradled through nervous auditions and restless nights forever. She was unable to breathe in such a sudden and violent manner. Malcolm had always been protected by Pamela.
Not until The Cosby Show, because this was not my, I put my son in the business for an extracurricular activity, not to be in show business. Being an actor and being in show business was the furthest from my mind. It was not my focus. It was just, I had tried different things. I had tried different sports, and nothing took. They had his first,
As a single mother in New Jersey, she balanced work and responsibilities while making sure her talented son was loved, cared for, and educated. When he became well known as Theo on The Cosby Show, Pamela continued to be his inspiration, urging him to maintain his composure, self-control, and humility. She protected herself from the frequently predatory nature of the entertainment industry, went to every taping, and offered encouraging whispers from the sidelines. Malcolm gave his mother credit for each professional achievement. "Without her, I wouldn't exist. She didn't just raise me," he once said to a reporter. "Even when I doubted myself, she had faith in me." Pamela was proud of the man her son had grown into, not for the attention. Despite being molded by a society that all too frequently consumes people, this man managed to maintain his kindness, introspection, creativity, and deep love. Pamela was at the private airport, silent, her heart broken beyond repair, when his body was flown home from Costa Rica.
He was really a great kid.
Yeah.
He was really.
A lot of kids grew up with him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And Beyonce posting on her official website, "Rest in power, Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Thanks for being a big part of our shared television history."
I knew him very well. We were young together.
All right, everybody say, party till you drop.
"I'm here now, baby," she whispered as she reached out and gently placed her hand on the casket. "I've got you." Even though she felt the weight of finality, she remained strong. The same strength that had sustained them both through decades of hardship and achievement. She made the decision that the public would not witness her sorrow in public. There would be no dramatic interviews or posts on social media. Rather, she would pay tribute to Malcolm's quiet dignity, purpose, and soul. However, she consented to communicate once via letter. As the letter was read, there was silence in the room. "I knew the world had changed the moment I held you, my Malcolm. You were light, music was you. I never imagined a child could be as much as you were. After I had given up on love, you gave me hope again, made me laugh, and helped me mature. This time, my love, you went too far, and I wasn't there to save you. However, I am aware that you are at peace wherever you are right now. You've always had a thing for the sea. Perhaps you joined in on it. I am grateful that you are my son. I appreciate you picking me. Until the day I can hold you once more, I will carry your spirit with me everywhere I go." As the last words reverberated throughout the chapel, guests broke down in tears. All were reminded that Malcolm was fundamentally a cherished and terribly missed son. regardless of whether they remembered him as a co-star or as a creative collaborator. That day, Pamela wore a plain black dress with a gold treble cleft pin on her lapel, a tribute to Malcolm's passion for music. In her purse was a small, faded photograph. Sitting on her lap as a toddler, Malcolm grinned broadly. Later, she would say, "When I close my eyes, I still see that version of him. My little boy used to sing himself to sleep, but not the musician or the actor." Malcolm-Jamal Warner passed away too soon, tragically and unexpectedly. However, his spirit continued to serve as a reminder of the mother-son bond that no ocean, tide, or death could ever erase in the peaceful nooks and crannies of Pamela Warner's life.
When I was about 6 years old, I told my parents that I was either going to be a famous actor, a famous poet, or a famous basketball player.
One of the most important and defining elements of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's life was his relationship with his mother, Pamela Warner. It was a relationship built on years of respect, love, sacrifice, and guidance. A bond that helped mold him into the man and artist he is today, and gave him a solid base of support during his remarkable professional and personal journey. Malcolm was raised by Pamela Warner, a single mother, with unwavering love and intense dedication. She knew her life was forever altered the moment he was born on August 18, 1970. It was not an easy task to raise a child by yourself, particularly in a world that could be harsh and uncertain. However, Pamela took on every obstacle head-on. Even in times of financial hardship, she put in endless effort to give Malcolm a secure home and the chance to follow his dreams. Malcolm learned from her the virtues of integrity, humility, and hard work, which he carried with him throughout his life. Their bond was based on a remarkable degree of open communication and trust, not just blood. Pamela was not only a mother, she was frequently his best friend as well as a confidant and mentor. Malcolm remained close to his mother even after becoming well known for his portrayal of Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Malcolm frequently gave Pamela credit for keeping him grounded and reminding him of who he was underneath the celebrity persona, even in the face of the demands of child stardom and the ongoing public and media scrutiny. Every significant turning point in Malcolm's life was witnessed by Pamela. She witnessed his first taping, his first audition, and the innumerable times he felt overburdened by the pressures of the entertainment business. She protected him by helping him navigate the intricacies of Hollywood and ensuring he never forgot his morals. Malcolm had complete faith in her and looked to her for guidance on personal and professional decisions as well as negotiating the occasionally perilous waters of celebrity. Beyond the work, they had a very intimate and affectionate relationship. Malcolm and Pamela had a unique relationship that went beyond the usual mother-son relationship. Their common interest in poetry, jazz music, and thought-provoking discussion brought them together. Pamela supported Malcolm's interests outside of acting and encouraged him to pursue his artistic goals. She fostered his passion for music, his poetry, and his later forays into producing and directing. Malcolm frequently discussed how his mother's support was crucial in fostering the development of his diverse skills. Both Malcolm and Pamela placed a high value on family. Even though Pamela was a single mother, she managed to create a warm, supportive, and loving home. Malcolm learned the value of family relationships from an early age, not only with his mother, but also with his mother's extended family and close friends. Pamela taught him the importance of loyalty and relationships, while ensuring he remained rooted in his community. This emphasis on the family was continued in Malcolm's close relationship with his daughter, which Pamela actively helped to strengthen. Malcolm had to deal with the difficulties of growing up in the spotlight all of his life. However, Pamela's presence served as a stabilizing force. Pamela was there to provide Malcolm with support and insight when he felt the need to reinvent himself outside of Theo Huxtable or struggled with the pressures of being typecast. She urged him to follow his passions without fear and to accept who he really is, regardless of what the public or industry may think. There were also times when they were open and vulnerable in their relationship. Malcolm and Pamela had frank discussions about the demands of celebrity, the highs and lows of life, and the quest for personal fulfillment. Because of this transparency, they were able to keep up a relationship founded on real understanding and empathy rather than merely admiration. Their bond changed as Malcolm grew up. Pamela was proud to see her son develop into an artist and a kind, considerate man. Based on love and respect for one another, their relationship remained solid. Pamela continued to play a crucial role in Malcolm's life as he established his own family, helping him as a parent, giving advice, and acknowledging the blessings of his daughter's existence. Pamela suffered an unfathomable loss when tragedy struck and Malcolm died while on vacation in Costa Rica with family. Her loss was heartbreaking and intensely personal. In addition to losing her son, she also lost her closest confidant, best friend, and biggest source of happiness and pride. Even during their darkest moments, their deep love remained a light, demonstrating the unbreakable bond they had developed over many years. Following Malcolm's death, Pamela paid tribute to him both publicly and privately, preserving his memory through music, stories, and a foundation devoted to wellness, education, and the arts. Mother and son's love lasted beyond death itself. Malcolm's legacy and their shared history are interwoven with an enduring bond. The relationship between Pamela Warner and Malcolm-Jamal Warner was a picture of unwavering love, tenacity, and devotion in every aspect. It was a bond that anchored a brilliant career, molded an extraordinary life, and made a deep impression on everyone who knew them. One of the most exquisite tales of a mother's devotion and a son's appreciation is theirs, an example of the strength of family in the face of wealth and fame. The entertainment industry and fans around the world were shocked to learn of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden passing. A void was left in Hollywood and beyond when the adored actor, musician, and artist, best known for his iconic role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, passed away unexpectedly while on vacation in Costa Rica. There was an overwhelming sense of profound loss mixed with admiration for a life that had touched so many people as tributes from famous people, co-workers, and longtime friends poured in. Actors who had collaborated with Malcolm conveyed their shock and sadness, frequently remarking on the professionalism and friendliness he brought to each set. Malcolm co-star Kasia Knight Pulliam, who played Rudy Huxtable, posted a touching message on social media. More than just a co-star, Malcolm was. He belonged to the family. Every space was made brighter by his kindness, sense of humor, and extraordinary talent. A real gem has been lost to the world. Her remarks were in line with the opinions of many people who knew him well. A man who maintained his modesty and friendliness in spite of his notoriety. In a brief statement, Bill Cosby, whose show helped launch Malcolm's career, offered his condolences. Malcolm had a promising future and was a gifted young man. Many were inspired by his work, and his legacy will endure. Others recalled Malcolm's influence outside of the screen with greater eloquence, whereas Cosby's statement was measured and formal. Actors from The Cosby Show era recalled Malcolm as a serious, down-to-earth person who never allowed fame to change who he was. Malcolm was always the big brother to us all, recalled Tempest Bledsoe, who played Vanessa Huxtable, in an interview. He reminded us why we were there, to tell important stories, and kept us laughing. These thoughts demonstrated the great regard his peers had for him as a person and as an artist. Malcolm's love of jazz and poetry was highlighted by comments from musicians who had worked with him or who had admired his work. Malcolm's soul was steeped in music and poetry, tweeted renowned jazz musician Esperanza Spalding. His heart was as deep as his artistic abilities. Brother, you can rest easy. Others discussed Malcolm's dedication to mentoring aspiring artists and promoting mental health awareness, highlighting his use of art as a tool for expression and healing. Producers and directors who had collaborated with Malcolm commended his professionalism and adaptability. Malcolm was one of those rare talents that could effortlessly shift between acting, directing, and music, said a longtime collaborator. He infused everything he touched with heart and intelligence. Many in the industry expressed their sadness at the sudden loss of such a multifaceted talent. As fans from all over the world shared their memories of watching Malcolm grow up on television and appreciating his later work, social media swiftly turned into a center of remembrance. For days, videos of Malcolm's performances, quotes from interviews, and images from his career went viral, with hashtags like Remembering Malcolm and Malcolm-Jamal Warner. In addition to his acting, fans commended his honesty, compassion, and commitment to his work. Celebrities who are not in the entertainment industry also shared their sorrow. Public personalities and activists emphasized Malcolm's advocacy efforts and his beneficial impact on the next generation. Malcolm was a trailblazer and a role model, stated actress and activist Janelle Monáe. His life serves as a reminder to all of us to live passionately and with purpose. These homages demonstrated Malcolm's influence that went beyond his on-screen persona. Malcolm was remembered with affection by comedy legends who had previously interacted with him. "I'm heartbroken to hear about Malcolm's passing," said Eddie Murphy, who had served as an inspiration to many of the young actors of Malcolm's generation. "He was a decent man and a true professional. His family is in my thoughts and prayers." Others in the comedy industry agreed, highlighting Malcolm's friendliness and the happiness he offered to everyone in his vicinity. Malcolm was frequently mentioned as a quiet but significant influence on the next generation of musicians and actors. Rising Stars discussed how his career demonstrated the value of sincerity and tenacity. Malcolm-Jamal Warner taught me that it's okay to be multifaceted and to follow your own path, a young actress wrote on social media. He will be sorely missed. His legacy as a guide and inspiration struck a chord with people of all ages and artistic backgrounds. Numerous well-known people also considered Malcolm's roles as a loving husband, father, and son. In a special segment honoring Malcolm, Oprah Winfrey commended his commitment to his family and his attempts to strike a balance between his private and public lives. Malcolm taught us all how to give back, love fiercely, and be present. According to Oprah, this humanizing perspective reminded everyone that behind the public figure was a man deeply connected to those who loved him. Malcolm was honored with moments of silence at several industry events and award shows. Ceremonies included tributes, with hosts narrating his contributions to music and television. His professionalism and artistry were praised in official statements issued by the Actors Guild and other professional associations. In Hollywood, friends and coworkers gathered in private circles for memorial services and celebrations of Malcolm's life. It was evident that despite spending a large portion of his career in the spotlight, he was still a beloved mentor and friend behind the scenes. Numerous guests praised his calm disposition, generosity, and capacity to motivate others. Malcolm's death was also lamented on a global scale. As they expressed their sorrow, fans from Europe, Africa, and beyond emphasized how his work transcended national and cultural borders. For many communities around the world, his portrayal of Theo Huxtable has come to represent positive representation on television. The outpouring of love and respect for Malcolm-Jamal Warner persisted as the days stretched into weeks. His influence went beyond the parts he performed to include the example he set in his own life. Devoted to raising others up, enthusiastic about the arts, and devoted to family. The genuine and heartfelt celebrity responses depicted a man who was respected for his character as well as his skills. The desire to uphold Malcolm's legacy by assisting upcoming generations of artists was reflected in the calls for initiatives to honor his memory through arts programs and scholarships in the wake of the incident. In order to carry on his work encouraging creativity and community involvement, friends and partners announced plans to create foundations in his honor. The widespread grief demonstrated how much Malcolm was adored, an artist who had graciously, humorously, and kindly impacted the lives of many. His abrupt death created a vacuum. However, the recollections, tributes, and stories of those who knew and respected him made sure that his spirit would endure, motivating future generations.